an application. In your case, there's code running on the server, and you have code running on the gadget, which is on the browser, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if my app wants to search all people from Tarlac, will Friendster let me access all these people, or just
it's whatever ones that's supported with the API? I
right,
mean, obviously if you're adhering to the if the other High5 or Orchid or Plaxto is adhering to the API, they are supporting the API. You only can use those particular API that's exposed. So there might be there could be, for example, let's say let's say a High5 has some other features that are specific for that. Obviously, it's not part of the APIs that are open yet. So, you wanted to add something to that, Franklin?
So we're mainly just building an awareness of the application, and so, but if, as Jay mentioned earlier, we can aggregate these questions and get back to you with that. But
thank you.
Yeah, and I'd say that the first step is to make sure that you download and read the documentation, so you understand what the APIs are and how do you use it properly. And you can go to the code lab and for Open Social. All right. Okay. So this we didn't mean to go into deep, but I think it was easily answered. So, all right. So moving on, a more exciting application here is Android. That's Android, and what Android is, it's part of the Open Handset Alliance project, and this is another open source project. Google. It's a group of more than 30 technology and mobile companies that's developing Android as a first complete open and free mobile platform. And that's kind of it's a big statement here to give developers, you guys, started in developing new applications, and to learn about Android. And since it just came out, we wanted to make sure that we have the single voice for Android, that you can go to download and read about the documentation at Google, code.google.com/android/documentation. And just a little tidbit about why you want to develop an Android. Android will allow you to access core mobile device functionality through API calls. All applications are treated equally. Android doesn't differentiate between the phone's basic and third-party applications. Even dialer or home screen can be replaced. So it's a SDK that's free, Libre. So you can download that SDK, and you can download it at code.google.com/android and download that SDK today. So I hope you guys would be able to look at that and start building some application. As a former mobile developer, I developed in J2ME and Brew. This is a big step in terms of for all mobile providers, handset device manufacturers, and also application developers, and moving this to on an open standard, open source. And that's what pretty much we're moving toward. Okay, Ben, are you here? All right. So Ben is going to talk a little bit about Google's Summer of Code. And all right. And here's Ben. And you can just, step through this here, right there. Yeah. No, there's yeah.
Sige. Okay, salamat po. Okay. Tinatakpan.
Ben, pakilala ka muna.
Okay, ako po si Ruben Canlas. I'm a consultant with Digital Solutions. We do open source content management systems. So ang expertise namin is in Drupal, which is an open source content management systems. And because of that, I volunteered as a mentor sa Google Summer of Code. So I'm going to talk about what Google Summer of Code is, because we want to recruit more mentors into this project, and consequently we want to recruit more students, particularly Filipino students, to join it. So I'd like to talk lang about what it is. So Google Summer of Code is every summer sa US, meron silang, the students take a break, and Google thought that, well, why don't we fund them to contribute source code to an open source project? So that's basically it. So in short, Google pays them like about $4,500 as one student and to do coding work for a project. So some of them are more well-known projects being supported by Google Summer Code will include Apache, Linux, ODSL. There's also Joomla, apart from Drupal. There's Plone. In fact, we have a couple of mentors here. Si Zach, dun sa ODSL. Zach. Yan. At saka si Jeff sa Drupal. So over there. Yan. So if there are any other mentors here, wala na iba? Ayun. Anong project? Oh, what project? Apache. Yan. So I also met Eclipse people and PHP people and Python. So there's a lot of them. It's like 900, I think. Here are some stats. 90 countries, 130 open source projects. In 2007, 900 students being mentored by 1,500 mentors. Mozilla is part of it also, and there's this disaster management project called Sahana. It's a very useful tool for managing disaster recovery, and it has a lot of use in the Philippines and in other Asian countries. We're very disaster prone. So I wanted Sana to invite you to join this, and this is how it's done. Students are recruited, quote unquote, to join the Summer of Code. So there's a sort of a promotion going on. They choose an open source project to which they're going to contribute. And then the mentors are recruited by the open source projects. So if you have an open source project, a pet project that you're contributing to or you're using, consider joining the mentoring for that project. You don't have to be a developer, a hardcore developer for it. Like for instance, my contribution is mostly on the interface side of Drupal. So I just comment on it's not easy to use, it's difficult, you have to do this, you have to do that. They usually have a primary mentor, which is the one who actually coaches the student to do the code. So this is the pairing of the student with the mentor from the open source community. It's a very short period. It's like 1 to 3 months, starting on August. So this 2008. So watch out na lang for the next Ayan, some of the statistics. And you could see they're increasing. So started in 2005, it's on its third year now. From 400 students, 630 students, now it's 900 students. Why would you want to join? Why would you want to volunteer? Well, obviously, it's for bragging rights. I'm a mentor, and you get to wear a shirt. They send it to you. That's the only payment you get from Google, just a shirt. They'll FedEx it to you wherever you are. But on top of that, if you choose to contribute to something that is useful, like for instance, you choose to mentor a student in Ubuntu, which is also part of it, or in Apache, then you're actually helping mankind, or humankind, sorry. Or if you contribute to the humanitarian projects, like for instance, Sahana, which is very important because countries don't really have disaster recovery systems, and Sahana is the only open source disaster recovery system that's very active right now.